You're texting, the car's driving, right? And then you go back, and this is suspended, and but it's not, you're not actually ever doing anything at the same time. So interesting stuff coming out that way. Utilizing technology, Google Calendar. I was hacking, and I just got turned on to that. I mean, my Google Calendar is like 30 colors because all my sons and all their activities, they have different colors and stuff. It's actually quite overwhelming. But you guys probably know better than I do. Smartphones, your PDAs. I'm going to show my age again. But technology that can be helping you out. I'm sure there's apps that are helping you out so that you save time, right? Like GPS, that's going to help you out. You know where you don't get lost. Okay. And then, to me, all of these kind of sum up though the whole whack-a-mole technique. You guys know what whack-a-mole is?
Yeah.
I like Funland. Does anybody not know what whack-a-mole is? Everybody knows? Okay, so isn't that hysterical metaphor, right? Like you're just like standing there and you're just living life, and then whatever pops up, you're like, okay, I gotta do that, and now I gotta do that, and now I gotta do that, right? And it's just whatever pops up. You're absolutely not in control. You're probably missing some, right? You're exhausted. You're in crisis mode the whole time, right? And you're not deciding where you're spending your time. So I just love that image. I also love whack-a-mole. I do really well at it, but it's not a great technique for time management. Another time management technique that has a name is called the POSEC technique, and that's obviously an anagram for prioritize, organize, streamline, economize, and contributing. And that has to do with, that last one has to do with contributing to your community, whether it's church or volunteer or something like that. So I mean that makes sense, right? You want to prioritize what's important, and you want to organize, and you want to streamline. That all makes sense, right? Right? Yes. Yes, Mrs. Thompson.
Yes, Mrs.
Okay, thank you. But it's not that inspiring. And again, my whole problem with this is how do you prioritize? Isn't that the problem? You know what I mean? To really decide what I should be spending my time on at this exact moment. Because maybe I should be texting. I haven't talked to my friends. I need to be texting. That could work. Another named technique is called a Pareto technique. And this one is for math people. Because this one, I just like, okay, that's fine. I don't get it. Asserts that 80% of the tasks can be completed in 20% of the time. And the remaining 20% of the tasks will take up 80% of the time. Therefore, tasks that fall into the first category should be assigned a higher priority. You want to embrace that?
Just looks like it equals 200% to me.
Which doesn't make sense at all. But that is a whole technique that if you wanted to, you could look into, okay? And that is all about, you can see how that's more logical and linear and like mathematical, okay, that they're looking at. But again, what do you have to do? What's the last word here? Prioritize. Prioritize. So you still have to decide where you're going to spend your time and prioritize, okay? Now the one that I like is called, it's actually called the Eisenhower theory or technique, but I like this one better. Big rocks first, okay? Supposedly Dwight Eisenhower used this technique. And it's not so much a technique of time management, as if you would have an agenda and have 8 a.m. and write what you're going to do at 9 a.m. It's a philosophy to approach your time, okay? And here it is, and here's why I like it, okay? So you've got, it's called kind of quadrant living. So we've got 4 quadrants here. This would be quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Does that make sense? Okay. So quadrant 1 is important and urgent things, tasks. Okay. Quadrant 2 would be important but not urgent. Making sense? Okay. Quadrant 3 is not important but urgent. Okay. And then quadrant 4 is not important and not urgent. Okay. So where do you think you spend, if you look back on your day, where do you think you spend most of your time? Quadrant 4, do you? Okay, that's huge distractions, right? Right, that's time bandits taking most of your stuff. After quadrant 4, what would you say? Danica, where do you spend most of your time?
Quadrant 2.
Quadrant 2, you do? Oh my gosh, it's like she get my presentation beforehand. Okay, so she's living the dream. Okay, I don't know what to tell you. You're dismissed. Would most people say they're working here? Important and urgent?
No.
No? No? Just whatever comes up, that whack-a-mole technique? No? You're not doing that? No? Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right, let's look at where we would put what kind of tasks in this quadrant. Okay? All right, so urgent and important, quadrant 1. What do we have in there? Somebody who hasn't read for me yet. In the back row in the white t-shirt, please.
Crisis, pressing problems, deadline-driven projects, meetings, preparation.
Good. Okay, that's your client just called and they need it actually tomorrow, not next week, and you can't lose this big client. Or that's there's a fire in your kitchen. Okay, right? It's urgent and it's important and it's unplanned, right? Okay, and it just comes up, right? Crises. Okay, not urgent. Somebody who hasn't read, would you go ahead and read not urgent? Quadrant 2.
Preparations, presentations, values, clarification, planning, relationship building, true recreation, and empowerment.
Okay, so those are, that's Danica living the dream, right? I mean, that's, you're working on a relationship, you're working on your education, you're working on your morals, making good moral choices. Yeah, I'm not in quadrant 2 a lot myself, so let's move on to quadrant 3. In the back, would you read quadrant 3 for me?
Interruptions, some phone calls, some mail, some reports, some meetings, many popular pressing matters, many popular activities.
Okay, so it's not important, but it's urgent. Oh, there's party tonight. All right, it's urgent. Got to go tonight, or it's not going to be going on. But it's not necessarily. But it's not urgent. But it is. Excuse me. It's not important, but urgent. Okay. And again, you can. I'm not saying a party is never not important, because that can be part of relationship building or true recreation. I've been working hard. Biggest thing you can do is work hard and play hard. So I'm not saying that means it doesn't fit anywhere. In the important part, it does. And then that last one, quadrant 4, where most of us are just keeping our head above water, would be what? In the stripes, Connie, would you read that for me?
Trivia, busy work, junk mail, some phone calls, time waster, and
escape activities. I think that's a cool way of saying that bandit stuff. That's I just let me text this person. It doesn't matter. Okay. So the whole idea in this kind of philosophy of time management is to live as much as you can in quadrant 2, because the other stuff will come up no matter what. Okay? Does that make sense? But it's harder to do for normal people like us than you would think. And so what I'm going to do is minimize this. We can keep the lights off. That's fine because it makes it a little bit cooler, I think. Right?
Yeah.
And you can see, right?
Hey.
All right. I need... You know what, Tika? Come on. You're so bumming. I learned your name. All right. I want to do a little experiment here. Okay. Can you take those out and put them on the table for me? Okay. So quadrant 2 types of activities would be like vacation. Okay, does that make sense, right? Like a lot of people, a lot of Americans especially, don't make time for vacation. That's wrong. How can you recreate yourself? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. What else would be a quadrant 2? Relationship building, right? Like family or family and friends, like, yep. Family, friends. Okay. What else? Work, okay. Work, let's say even more so like career. Do you know what I mean? Because work could just be getting through the day, but career goals is going back to school and, kind of sharpening your saw. What about